Welcome to The Explainer, the cosmic classroom, why pain precedes understanding. Have you ever just looked up at the sky during a really brutal moment in your life and thought, why does it have to hurt this much just to learn a lesson? It's a deeply relatable, totally universal frustration. Human suffering often feels, frankly, incredibly unfair. Well, today we're exploring a fascinating source that tackles this exact dilemma head-on. It offers a wildly different perspective on why hardship actually exists, and honestly, it's a real game-changer for reframing our daily struggles. Let's just jump right in.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why does nature seemingly punish us with pain first, instead of just, handing us the rule book for life? It's a burning question. Why does the universe operate in what feels like such a cruel and inefficient way? If there are rules to living well, why aren't we just born knowing them? Why do we have to stumble, fall flat on our faces, and get hurt before we finally get how the world works? People have been puzzled by this for millennia, and the answer we're unpacking today is, well, it's anything but conventional.
Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how it completely flips the traditional script on creation and suffering. Typically, a lot of worldviews position us, humans, as mere mortals, right? Subject to the whims of a singular external creator, like a deity who hands down punishments the second we step out of line. But this framework, it argues that the universe is not a top-down dictatorship. Instead, it operates as a completely automated system. And the real kicker, get this, is that this system was triggered by our own collective energy. So in this view, we aren't just helpless mortals. We're actually fundamentally responsible for the reality we're experiencing right now.
To really grasp this, we have to look at two core concepts from the source material: Qian-sin, which translates to clear or heavenly gods, and Gu-sin, which translates to cloudy gods. The idea here is that humans are not originally earthly beings at all. Actually, scratch that. We were the Qian-sin. We were original heavenly gods who once played a massive role in operating the greater universe. But over time, our energy got heavy. It became impure, clouded. We transitioned from clear gods to cloudy gods. So the humans walking the earth today, according to this, we're essentially clouded deities who've lost our original clarity.
And that brings us to a really mind-bending mathematical threshold the source calls the 3-7 law. We didn't just slowly, casually drift into this clouded state. There was a hard tipping point. When our collective energy hit exactly 30% impurity, leaving 70% original purity, it caused a massive fluctuation in the universe's energy. It was literally an automated spiritual physics reaction. That 30% threshold of cloudiness actually forced the generation of the material world. The physical universe, the galaxies, the stars, the Earth itself, the whole shebang was created automatically just to contain this newly heavy, dense energy.
So, what does that mean for our everyday reality? Well, it means the 3D world is essentially a giant, automated escape room that we built for ourselves. It's a spiritual training ground, not a divine mistake, and definitely not a torture chamber designed by an angry creator. Earth and the entire material universe was formed as a direct, automated response to our own clouded state. The physical world exists purely as an environment for heavy energy to interact, to experience friction, and ultimately to figure out how to become clear again.
But that brings up an obvious doubt, right? If the whole goal of this 3D training ground is for us to learn and clear our energy, why not just give us the cheat sheet? Why not hand over the answers up front and skip all of the suffering? Well, think about it. If we were just handed the answers, we'd blindly follow instructions without truly understanding the sheer depth of our spiritual fall. We wouldn't actually evolve. True comprehension requires experiencing the consequences of our clouded state. Without the pain, without that literal friction, we just remain stagnant. The suffering is the exact mechanism that forces us to stop in our tracks and ask, wait, why is this happening to me?
And this brilliantly illustrates how that mechanism of friction plays out in our actual human society. It's a striking recontextualization of completely mundane societal institutions. Think about everyday locations, not just as physical buildings, but as a literal spiritual weight scale. Earthly locations are categorized by the intensity or the weight of their spiritual training. So you aren't just visiting a place. You're entering a specific zone of spiritual training that is perfectly calibrated to force you to reflect on what you're doing wrong. Let's break down exactly how this heavy, medium, and light system operates. A physical prison is classified as a heavy spiritual facility. By completely stripping away your physical freedom, nature forces you to reflect on the actions that got you there. Now, a hospital, that's a medium facility. Lying flat on your back, nature forces physical stillness upon you. You can't run away from your life. You literally have to ponder why your body broke down. And temples or churches, those are light facilities. When life is hard, nature prompts you to realize your own spiritual poverty. It's tough love, pure and simple, forcing us to stop our daily routines and study our fundamental flaws.
Which raises a pretty sharp question. Are we truly living well if our spiritual practice consists merely of blindly begging for help? I mean, going to a temple to bow or a church to ask for blessings, while remaining totally ignorant of why you're suffering in the first place, it kind of defeats the purpose. The universe didn't send you to that facility just to beg. It sent you there to realize why you're in a position where you have to beg in the first place. You're supposed to seek the root cause, not just look for a quick fix. To prove how raw and intense this process can actually be, the source material shares an intensely personal anecdote that captures the absolute edge of human despair. Imagine retreating into nature, fully intending to die, and furiously rebelling against the universe. Literally screaming out into the void, "God, you son of a bitch, come down. If you made the world like this, come down right now and punish me." This wasn't polite prayer. This was rock bottom. A complete breakdown in the face of the universe's crushing friction.
But, and this is key, that fierce rebellion wasn't the end. It was the gritty, totally necessary beginning. It was exactly this extreme resentment and aggressive questioning that sparked the ultimate search for natural laws. By aggressively demanding answers from the universe, there was finally a forced pivot to study how nature actually works. It's about stopping the passive acceptance of suffering and fiercely dissecting it. That intense anger, it became the fuel that transitioned a state of passive suffering into an active, profound spiritual study.
Let's see how this builds into a very clear 4-step cosmic roadmap for us when we finally hit that rock bottom. Step 1, we experience hardship. This is that friction we talked about. Step 2, instead of just complaining about it, we begin reflecting and actively studying why things are difficult. Step 3, through that really intense study, we achieve awakening. We finally understand our own flaws and the natural laws at play. And step 4, once we learn the lesson, the hardship is no longer necessary. We literally unlock a fundamentally better life.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this massive paradigm shift. We have to completely move away from the idea that God is punishing us. Pain is not born from divine hatred or some capricious random universe. No, it is born from nature's incredibly strict love. The universe is merely providing the exact amount of friction necessary to wake us up from our clouded state. It's an automated system designed entirely to push us to evolve, to study our environment, and ultimately to reclaim our original clarity.
Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought. Think about the struggles you're facing in your own life right now. The frustrations, the illnesses, the feeling of being trapped. Are your current hardships really punishments? Or could they actually be nature's tough love, an automated classroom perfectly designed to push you to awaken? It is an incredibly empowering framework, but only if you're willing to study the lessons rather than just fighting the pain. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep questioning, keep studying, and I'll catch you next time.